a beautiful thing. Really, we people don't know the meaning of Sundara. It has got several meanings. I am explaining some of them. Sundaram in Sundarkand. The word Sundara has different meanings. Handsome, beautiful, pretty, fair, lovely, comely, elegant, good-looking, etc. These are the equivalent words or synonyms that can be used as the meaning of Sundara. But in an Indian context, the word has a deeper meaning. It is not mere materialistic or mundane. It has more sacred, divine, altruistic or spiritual meanings. They are related to the different situations of life. For example, the situation created and explained with the word handsome is related to a male principle or male person. The male principle is the masculine cause of creation, wherefrom the nature is created or originated. According to Indian philosophy, there are two aspects of function. One is the stagnating function, which is always tranquil, which has no motion, but the other is with all full of motions. And here in our society we normally use the phrase a handsome young man, not a handsome young lady, but only a beautiful young lady and not handsome lady. Spiritually here the man is the primordial cause or the first cause of the universe, which is always explained in literature as the masculine feature. Kandam means a chapter. Sundarakandam bears the meaning a handsome chapter. The word handsome signifies Sree Ram. It bears the meaning Sree Ram. Why? Because he is the masculine principle for the creation of this world. Or he is the informal Brahman into form by name Sree Ram. He is the personified one and the Brahman is the impersonified. The incarnated masculine cause and force is Ram. The purpose of incarnation is establishment of dharma, the fundamental principle of the universe. The devotees know very well that Rama is dharma surupa. Surupa means a form. Dharma is always invisible. It has no form at all. Hence this dharma surupa means an invisible principle or ethics brought into a person, that is Ram. Anything invisible or unseen should be brought to something visible. Otherwise we cannot explain. We have our own body and life. We haven't seen our life. But to say the man is alive, the life invisible, though it is invisible in our plane, it is working through the body, and through the body which is visible, we know that life is there. So the impersonal life is explained through the visible body. Like that, the impersonality of the cosmos is explained through Ram, with his visible body. So here the principle or ethics brought into a person, that is Ram. The word Sundara explodes the meaning of both handsome and beautiful. Handsome stands for Ram, the masculine principle, or the cause of creation, and beautiful stands for Sitaji in the form of Prakriti, or in the form of motion, or in the form and name that we see everywhere. Ram is the cause and Sitaji the effect. The nature is with the forms and names. Here the nature is personified as Sitaji. So Sundarakanda is a personified chapter of Rama's life and then the life of Maya Sita. The total content elaborated in the chapter is an ethical music. Hence, the word Sundara stands for the incarnated, handsome, blue young lotus-like Ram bearing the fruits of dharma and karma. Here, the dharma is Ram and karma is Sitaji. Karma is activating principle and dharma is a stagnating principle which comes out into motion as karma. So dharma is equal to karma, but one is visible through the bodies, the other is the cause of the body to protect it or to make it active. The all-pervading life making all elements active and alive is called Devi or goddess or Prakriti Swarupini, that is Sitaji. If there is no life, no beauty and no form of nature will exist. Thus Prakriti Swarupini or Devi is the wisdom, power, energy, vitality, strength and attraction, but the soul is Ram. Hence, Sundarkand is a life chapter of the Almighty to know through the medium of nature and its law. It is the life chapter of the God and the Goddess. It is the life chapter of the cause and the effect. It is the chapter of dharmic life and destruction of adharmic. It is a chapter of the abolition of the rajasic and tamasic qualities from the human mind. And it is the chapter for the establishment of the sattvic quality in it, means in the mind. Finally, it is a virtuous chapter that transforms a man of bondage into a man of freedom. So the chapter is Sundaram. Sanskrit texts like Amakosham and the Sabdarnavam give many expressive meanings for the word Sundaram, such as the following: Sundaram, Rujiram, Charu, Sushamam, Sathu, Shophanam, Kandam, Manoramam, Ruchyam, Manojnyam, Manjumanjulam. The expression of Sundaram has different meanings of all the words mentioned above. Hence, all the meanings are relevant in the explanation of Sundarakand. For example, Rujiram means beautiful and pleasant. Charu is that which occupies the mind, which enters to the mind, or which is going towards the mind. Sushamam refers to one in which the contents are all glorious and shining. The term sadhu relates to a story or chapter that enchants the mind of a devotee and fascinates him. The story of Ram and Sitaji and the duty of a committed messenger like Hanumanji is a brilliant example for a sadhaka or an ordinary man. The whole chapter enchants and fascinates the devotee to increase his spiritual inclination. By bearing this means the condom is Sundara. Then Shophanam means bright or luminous. It offers prosperous and luminous future to all devotees in material and spiritual lives. So in both the ways, the chapter is bright and luminous, so as to call it Sundara. Another meaning is Kantam, means worth having. The content of the chapter Sundara Kandam is always worth having. The search for Sita, the message from Ram, and the duty of the committed messenger. In all the ways, the chapter is worth having. The message of Rama is what to be contemplated and implemented. As the committed messenger, with the full devotion to his master, Hanumanji is exemplary. Exemplary meaning which is fit to follow. Nowadays, the relationship between the messenger and the master is veiled with ego and craving for passion, power and pelf. And it has created a lacuna which cannot be bridged by the present complicated decorum of the society. It shows the difference between the dedicated system of the past and the politically complicated ambition of the present. So it is definitely worth to have the part of Ram as the master and Hanumanji as the messenger. Here also the message of Sundarkand is worth following, and hence the chapter is worth enough to be Sundara. Okay. Now we are entering into the ninth meaning, that is Manoramam, means that which entices or attracts the mind. Then the 10th one meaning is Manojñam, refers to something that is found out with a meditative mind. Here there is nothing to explain more than the attempt that we have to fulfill to make our minds pure and free by following the path of Ram and Sita ji, as with the commitment of Hanumanji. Thus, Sundarakandam refers to the highest order of mind attained by transcending the afflictions. Hence, the chapter is Manojñam or Sundaram. The word Manju, that is the 11th meaning. Manju and Manjulam are one and the same, are related to the character of pervading everywhere. In this context, the chapter Sundarakandam bears a three-dimensional expansion: thought, word and deed. The thoughts are devoted and espoused, are adapted, are supported by Sitaji meditating upon Ram. The words are the message given by Ram through Hanumanji. And the third one, deeds, are the dedicated feats, or deeds are the actions of Hanumanji himself. The meaning bears fruit of these three as a sacred confluence towards the dharmic gain. Thus the chapter is made Sundaram, with the story of Ram which spreads everywhere. Some of the other derivational meanings of the word Sundaram are also worth remembering at this juncture. They are, that is the 12th meaning, Sudring or array, which means having distinctive reverence or something mostly respected. Here Ram's story, Hanumanji's story, Sitaji's story, and as a whole the kandam itself is respected by the devotees. The reverence here is unto Lord Rama, the all-pervading cause of life. The reverence is most distinct and distinguished because he is the all-pervading source and force to cross over the ocean of nations. Devotees worship Hanumanji, the most committed follower of Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra, through Sundarakand. The reverence goes to the master and the messenger, and hence to the chapter as a whole. It is a chapter that teaches us how to cross the mundane ocean and burn Lanka. The salty ocean is the multi-desires of the mind. At times, the ocean of desires may have a roaring sound. It may crawl at times to the land of peace and truth. Thus the ocean of mind is full of roaring and crawling waves of thoughts and desires. Crossing such an oceanic mind is not simple. It needs courage, valor, vitality, vigor and wit, and above all, devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Rama. That was the cause of the victory of Hanumanji, the brilliant messenger of Rama. Thus, it is a chapter that teaches us how to cross the salty oceanic desires of one's own mind. Here the salt is the deposit of desires or the instincts of the mind. The mind is the dominating factor to be avoided or deleted. So we have to respect this chapter distinctively. With this spiritual significance, the Sundarkand is more respected and called as Sundara. 13th meaning is Su, Undi Kledane, meaning melting the mind into nectar of devotion. Melting the mind into nectar of devotion. Nothing to say more about this than the luminous expression of Hanumanji's devotion, which is glittering throughout the fiction and figures of each and every stanza. It was melting and flowing unto the lotus feet of Ram in the form of service and extreme devotion, to get over the mountain, to fly over the sea, and in flying Lanka, finding Sitaji and the prostrations to her, the proclamation in front of Ravana, all are toned and tuned with the symphony of devotion. A devotee of Ram or an upasaka is to melt his mind into nectar of dedication on Sri Ram, the first and the best without a second. Thus the chapter glorifies every human mind with the story of Ram and Sitaji, so as to melt it with devotion and sympathy, and hence called the chapter Sundaram. The 14th meaning of Sundaram is Sum Derete iti Sundara. Let us split the word Sundaram to know the meaning into Sum plus Dara and study the derivative meaning of both. Sum means sin and Dara means that which tears or rips apart. So Sundara means which tears or cleaves apart sins. Sundarkandam is to be taught and learnt in this sense. Ravana is an embodiment of all sins, and that personified Ravana is torn by the sharp and blatant arrow of Sri Ram. Here the messenger Hanumanji destroys the pride and pomp of Ravana and kills the sins of the Rakshasas. His advice to Ravana as the envoy of Ram is also a sharp weapon to tear all vices or afflicted pains and sorrows of the people of all times. The method adopted by Hanumanji for the fulfillment of Rama's noble message is also a claim for the sinners to avoid their sins. The ablazing of Lanka is a symbolic suggestion on how a man should set ablaze the trigunas of his mind, or the afflictions of his mind, the anguishness of his mind, the sorrows or pains of his mind. Thus, the Sundarakand is a conclusion for the confirmation of one's own revelation by avoiding all vices. Here, the symbolic expression bears a beautiful meaning, that is Sundara. Then the 15th meaning is Nashtarthasya Punarlapa Sundara Parigurtita. The meaning of this is regaining and retaining the property that is lost. Regaining and retaining the property that is lost. Here, the lost property is the abducted Sitaji. Being mind, the Prakriti, the whole universe would be affected while Sitaji was taken off. She was put under the demonic force of Ravana. Our mind should also be put under the demonic force of desires. If not, she was brought back by Ram. If not, our mind is occupied by Ram. It would be counted by the world as an injustice against the dharmic rules. Hence, Sundara means the severe attempt taken over by Sri Ram to recover Sita from her captivity, or the severe attempt or penance taken over by each and every devotee to absorb Ram, to replace him in the mind, to get away from all the afflictions created. Then the 16th meaning is from Bhagavatam. Anandarasa Sundaram means bliss which leads the man to enjoy the nectar of freedom. Bliss which leads the man to enjoy the nectar. Nectar means amrita, nectar of freedom. Rasam is the nectarous bliss. The meaning of rasam, Ananda Rasa Sundaram. Here Anandam is bliss, rasam is the nectarous bliss, or the experience in the form of bliss, in the form of nectar, or the bliss attitude which keeps us always in Ananda, or enjoyment of the eternity. In Bharatamuni's concept, Sundaram is the soul itself, in which the subtler materials of beauty are inclined. According to Bharatamuni, who has explained the meaning Sundaram, is highly explanative. He says soul is the root of everything, and it is an ocean where all the concept of beauty is inclined. Suppose we take some clay, or an artist takes some clay. The clay is not beautiful, the clay is not handsome, but at the same time, from the mind of the artist, the clay can be transformed into handsome form of Krishna, and the clay can be transformed into beautiful form of Rukmini. Whatever it may be, it signifies the meaning handsome and beauty, or that beauty, the beauty of the Prakriti, and handsome as the inclined system of soul, or an oceanic system of all the beauties inclined in it. So it is a chapter that is explained as the ocean of all beauties, so called Sundaram. 17th meaning is from Narayaniam, Saundarya Uttaradovi Sundaradaram, means beauty beyond the most beautiful. And all of the things about beauty we have explained, so that's enough. Then 18th meaning, the word Sundara has another meaning, that is messenger. There is no need of explanation, as evidently Hanumanji is the messenger of Sri Rama and his duty is successfully fulfilled. Thus, we looked into 18 different meanings of the word Sundaram, such as the first one, handsome, the masculine principle. Second, beautiful, the principle of Prakriti. Third one, Ruchiram, beautiful and pleasant. Four, and Charu, that which occupies the mind or which enters to the mind. Then Sushamam, glorious and shining. Then Sadhu, enchanting and fascinating the mind. Then seventh one, Shobhanam, bright or luminous. Eighth one, Antam, worth having. Then Manoramam, attracting the mind. Then Manojñam, found out with a meditative mind. Manju and Manjulam, pervading everywhere. Sudringadare, mostly respected one. Suundi Kledene, 13th and 12th and 13th. Melting the mind into nectar of devotion. Then 14th one, Sundarate iti Sundara. Cleaves apart sins, or which breaks off the sins or delete the sins from the mind. Then 15th one, Nashtarthasya Punarlabha Sundara Parigirtida. Regaining the lost property is called Sundara. Then 16th one, Ananda Rasa Sundaram, the soul and the nectar of bliss. 17th one, Saundaryottaradovi Sundaradaram, that is beauty beyond the most beautiful. 18th, Sundara, the messenger. You know very well, that is Hanumanji. So, thus the word Sundaram has all-pervading meaning that is fortified in different situations and contexts. It begins with the concept of handsomeness and beauty and develops from the lower status of materialism to the higher status of the soul. The mundane and the spiritualistic ways of life are combined and compiled in this noble chapter of Ramayana. Through this chapter, the sadhaka and the satya, the practitioner and the object of practice, are assimilated into one. Here the master and the messenger are given equal status, signifying the higher status of spiritual endeavor.